My name is Paul Sleeper. I'm the area fisheries management biologist located out of the Lake McBride Fisheries Station. Fish have a lot of, they're moving constantly in the river, and that creates that barrier. So they're constantly moving to spawning habitat, different areas. Maybe if you get a high water event, they're going to move to different types of areas on that river. They're also working for overwintering sites. They're constantly moving. If you get high water, maybe there's some other areas they're going to move. So what we really worry about is you basically stop that migration. When you originally create that low head dam, you create this nice, basically this impoundment above. For a short period of time, it's actually very nice. I mean, it creates that lake habitat. You can get some more of the lake's fish species, maybe like largemouth bass, bluegills, crappies. But over time, what those low head dams are, they're functioning as a sediment trap, and they just start eventually getting filling full of sediment. And since it's a lake habitat, it kind of definitely impedes a lot of the river species. Over time, it fills in. Then we start having water quality issues where you can have some big algae blooms. So then you have poor water quality to deal with that. So some of those situations, might be just a short time, but then over time, they really are a detriment. The habitat is what we're looking for, and a lot of these is those critical habitats that might not be in that particular stretch of river. There might be a low head dam, and then 20 feet or 20 miles up will be the next one. And maybe there's not that critical habitat of like a deep overwintering area where those fish can actually get to. By modifying these dams to let these fish get over, we can actually provide access to those, which we can actually then, since that overwintering is kind of one of those big limiting factors, we can actually support a lot more fish in there by providing those critical overwintering areas, critical spawning areas. Again, the dams, a lot of times they'll silt in above, which covers up a lot of that critical rock and nice gravel areas where they're going to spawn. So just opening up that whole system makes just a much more natural river system. When we get that natural migrations of fish, mussels, all that stuff, and it makes it a lot more in balance. Our research management team out of Manchester has been doing some telemetry studies over the past 20 plus years, and where they actually surgically implant radio transmitters in these fish and actually follow them for several years. And they're getting some real critical data on what those fish, what kind of habitat those fish are utilizing at certain times, and especially seasonal trends. They did a study between Quasqueton and Independence, and they implanted around 30 channel catfish with transmitters and followed them for several years and just looked again at those seasonal patterns. But one of the critical limiting factors on those is overwintering sites. And what an overwintering site is, it's a deeper water. A lot of times they don't have much current at all with good oxygen. And they found 26 out of the 30 channel catfish that they actually had implanted with the transmitters went to one old sand pit within that 15-mile stretch. So there's a lot of areas that in between those low head dams that don't have that particular habitat. So by opening up these other low head dams, it'll let those fish maybe migrate further to find some of those critical areas. Same thing, they did a study on the turkey ones too, and the same thing, and those fish were working. They would have to go all the way back to the Mississippi to find an overwintering area, 30, 40 miles, but then they would come back in the spring to that first low head, but then they couldn't get up and over it. So a lot of unique seasonal patterns that can happen, but if you don't open up the rest of those, you're just having a narrow range of where those fish can actually migrate.